The case statement. So far, we've learned about string, number, and date functions. We also looked at nested functions and conversion functions. Now, we'll look at a special kind of function. The case statement allows us to perform conditional logic in our SQL queries. It allows for if, then, else logic. It's more of a statement than a function, as there are no brackets for parameters and it has other keywords. The syntax of a case statement looks like this. It starts with the keyword case, and then you have an expression. This checks for a value and is often a column or a function of a column. Then we have a combination of when and then clauses. When is the value that the expression could be, and then is what happens if the expression matches the condition. Then you have an else clause for non-matching conditions. Finally, you end it with the word end, with the name of the case statement, which is also used as the column heading. Let's see an example of this. Let's take a look at our products table again. Now, let's say we wanted to find out which products cost over $100 and which were under. Rather than filter them out, we want to show all records, but be able to tell the difference between under 100 and over 100. To do this, we use case. We add this in as a separate column. We write case. And then we have the word when, and then we put in our condition. So when price is over 100, then we put in what we want to display for this column. In this case, we want to put a text value that says over 100. Then the next line, we have the word then, and then price, less than or equal to 100. And when that happens, we want to say less than or under 100. Finally, we have the word end, and then we want to give the column a label. We'll call it price group. Notice we went from case to when. The expression in there is optional. For each row that is returned, this case statement is run. Now, let's run the query. You can see the results here in the price group column. Some values, the ones that are over 100, have this over 100 value. Other values, which are less than 100, have this less than or equal to 100 label. What if we have more than two conditions? Let's break up the prices into 4 groups: over 200, 100 to 200, 50 to 100, and below 50. Let's adjust our case statement here. When price is over 200, we want to say over 200. When price is greater than 100 and price less than or equal to 200, then we want to say between 100 and 200. Then we want to say when price is greater than 50 and price is less than or equal to 100, then we're going to say between 50 and 100. Finally, we're going to use the else clause. We're going to say else under 50. Notice that we can have many when clauses here. We also use an else. This is run when none of the conditions are true. Let's run this query. You can see that they each have their label. Some are between 100 and 200, some are between 50 and 100, some are over 200, and some are under 50 here. Let's see another example. This time we'll put an expression after the word case. Let's look at the customer table. We can see our customer data here, along with their address state. Let's group the states into regions. We'll put in another case statement for this. This time we put in case and then address state. And then in our when condition, we can just put in the value that we expect for address state. We have our then clause, and then we type in what value is to be shown if the state is ny. Let's keep going and put in the rest of our states. We have several conditions here, as well as an else clause. Let's run our query. You can see the regions are shown for each customer, as well as an unknown state group here for the calif state. Now this seems like a bit of a duplication in code here. The good news is that we can simplify this using the in clause. If we remove the address state from here and change our when clauses here, we can say when address underscore state and then in. Then we open and close our brackets. Then here we can put in our possible values for the address state that we want to match to the east value. Then we have then we want to show east. We can copy this row to make it a bit quicker, then replace that data there with the west values. Let's remove those rows and leave our else clause there. We've grouped those values that have the same output into an in clause. Now we only have 2 when clauses instead of 7. Let's run this query. We can see that the results are the same here. So that's how you use the case statement. You can use it in a couple of different ways, and it's quite flexible in what conditions you use with it. It's a very powerful piece of code. Next, we'll take a look at subqueries.